The alien girl's greatest fear, the alien girl stood on the edge of the black cliffs, her red eyes staring into the endless sky. Her world was quiet tonight, but danger always lived here. The storm screamed across the mountains, lightning tore the sky apart, and the ground itself shook with hidden beasts. She was used to it. She had grown up here, a planet of death, a place where only the strongest survived. Others called it a death world, but for her, it was home. She was the last of her kind, or so she believed. Every day was a test. Every night was a fight to stay alive. The alien girl had always thought she was alone in this. No other species could survive what she survived. No one could face the predators, the poison, the storms. She believed she was the only true Deathworlder in the galaxy. That belief gave her pride. And fear, because if she was the only one, then her loneliness would never end. But deep inside, she carried another fear, one she never spoke, one that whispered to her in the dark. What if she was not the only one? What if there was someone, somewhere, stronger than her? That thought haunted her. The night air grew heavy. She listened. Her world always told stories through its sounds, the cracking rocks, the hunting cries, the burning winds. Tonight, there was something else, a sound. Not from her world, a pulse in the sky. She raised her head, and her long black hair whipped in the storm wind. A strange light cut across the heavens. A starship, small but fast. She had seen ships before. Traders, raiders, scavengers. They stayed far away from her world, too afraid of its dangers. But this ship, it was coming down. Her heart pounded. Was it another alien species? More cowards? More weaklings who would scream and run from her world? She almost laughed, yet something in her chest felt heavy. Like a warning, she ran through the jagged rocks, climbed the broken spires, and reached the landing place. The ship roared as it fought the storm. Fire trailed behind it. Metal screamed. Against the air, the alien girl crouched low, her claws gripping the stone, waiting. The ship struck the ground hard. A wall of dust exploded. Lightning lit the sky again. In the smoke, a figure stepped out. She narrowed her eyes. The figure was tall, 2 legs, 2 arms. Walking upright, like many species, the storm tore at its clothes. But it kept moving forward with calm steps. No fear, no weakness. The alien girl hissed softly. She had seen many creatures, but this one felt different. The stranger's eyes searched the land. They were not afraid. They were sharp, alive, glowing with something she could not name. For the first time in years, she felt her chest tighten. This one was not weak. This one was dangerous. She leaped down from the rocks. Landing before the figure, dust swirled around her. Her claws flexed, her teeth bared. "You do not belong here," she said. Her voice cold and sharp. The figure stopped. It tilted its head, studying her. Then it spoke. The voice was deep, calm, and filled with something powerful. "I could say the same," it replied. Her eyes narrowed. She had faced beasts that could crush mountains, storms that could tear forests apart. But nothing had ever spoken to her like this. "Who are you?" she demanded. The figure's mouth curved into the smallest of smiles. "Human," it said. The word meant nothing to her at first. But then, memories, whispers, rumors from old alien traders. She had heard this name before. They spoke of a species born from a world of chaos, a planet where everything tried to kill them, a place more dangerous than any other. No, she thought, it cannot be true. She had always believed she was the only one, the last true Deathworlder, but now, standing before her in the storm, was something else. Something that carried the same wildfire in its eyes. Her greatest fear rose inside her chest, choking her. What if the stories were true? What if humanity was real? And what if they were stronger than her? The storm howled around them. The lightning split the sky. For the first time in her life, the alien girl felt her claws tremble. The human took another step forward, eyes never leaving hers, calm, steady, unshaken, and she realized the truth. She was not alone, and that terrified her more than the storms, more than the monsters. More than death itself, her greatest fear was no longer being the only Deathworlder. Her greatest fear was humanity. Whispers of humanity. The human stood tall in the storm, and the alien girl could not look away. His presence was heavy, like the air before lightning struck. Her claws twitched against the stone, but for the first time in her life, she did not leap forward to strike. She was used to seeing fear in the eyes of strangers, but this one, his eyes carried no fear. Instead, they carried something worse, a calm strength, a quiet storm. The girl turned away, pretending not to care. She was the hunter of her world, the last Deathworlder. She could not show weakness, yet as she walked, the whispers in her memory returned, old words spoken by traitors, raiders, scavengers, always in hushed voices, always with unease. They say humans come from a world more violent than war. They say their planet itself tries to kill them. Every day, they say humans smile when others would scream. They say humans do not break. She had never believed those words. To her, they were lies told by weak aliens, excuses for why they feared the unknown. But now, standing only steps away from one, she wondered if those whispers had been warnings. The human followed her, his footsteps steady against the broken stone. She could feel his eyes on her back. "You live here," he said at last, his voice carrying through the wind. "Yes," she replied without looking at him. Her voice was sharp, cold, but inside she was unsettled. "This world is harsh," the human said, "but not unfamiliar." She froze, her mind raced. Not unfamiliar. No species should compare their home to hers. No species should survive what she survived. She turned on him, her eyes glowing in the storm. "Do you think you know my world?" she demanded. The human only shrugged. "I think your world is like mine." Her chest tightened. The whispers grew louder in her mind. Humans, born of storms, raised by predators, tempered in fire. "No," she hissed. "There is no world like mine, no species like me." The human tilted his head, studying her as if she were the one being tested. His eyes seemed to pierce through her anger, through her pride. "Maybe," he said softly. "Or maybe you're afraid to admit you're not alone." Her heart thrashed inside her chest. She wanted to roar, to strike, to silence him, but the words cut deeper than any claw. Afraid. Was she afraid? They walked together through the jagged cliffs. The storm calmed, but her mind did not. She wanted answers. She wanted to know if the stories were true, if this human truly came from a world worse than hers. Finally, she asked, "Your home. What is it?" The human's eyes turned distant, as if he could see beyond the storm. "Earth," he said. The name meant little to her, but the way he said it carried weight. He spoke again, his voice low, steady. "On Earth, there are jungles, where the air itself can choke you, deserts where the sun burns flesh to ash, oceans that swallow cities, storms that flatten mountains, and life that never stops fighting." He looked at her. "Everything on Earth wants to live, and everything is dangerous. Even the smallest creature can kill." The alien girl's claws dug into the stone. Her breath caught in her throat. His words were not boasts, they were truths, simple and heavy. For the first time, she felt her pride slipping. She wanted to believe he lied, but his eyes told her otherwise. They were the eyes of someone who had seen too much, survived too much. Her mind whispered again, "What if it's true? What if humans are born from a world worse than yours?" She shook her head violently. "No," she growled. "You speak like a fool." No species could survive such a place. The human only smiled faintly. And yet, here I am. The storm broke above them. Rain began to fall. Each drop hissed against the hot rocks. The alien girl stared at the human as the water soaked his hair. His face, his strange clothing, he did not flinch, did not shiver. He stood as if the storm belonged to him. Her claws trembled, but she hid them behind her back. This was not possible. No one could rival her. No one could understand what it meant to live as a Deathworlder. And yet, in front of her, stood proof that she was wrong. That night, she sat alone in the ruins of an ancient tower, her red eyes glowing in the dark. She remembered the whispers again. Clearer this time, they say humans adapt to anything. They say no matter the pain. They keep moving. They say humans are the galaxy's greatest fear. For years, she had laughed at those words. But tonight, she could not laugh. Her greatest fear was no longer just loneliness. Her greatest fear was coming true. Humanity was real. Humanity was strong. Humanity was here. She looked up at the sky, lightning flashing above. Her claws clenched, her chest heavy. If the humans spoke truth, then her life was no longer what she thought. She was not unique, not the only Deathworlder. And if humanity was even stronger than her kind, then the galaxy itself was in danger. The alien girl closed her eyes, whispering to herself in the storm, "Humans are the monsters I was always afraid to meet." The first encounter, the alien girl had spent her life hunting monsters. She had fought beasts that cracked stone with their jaws. She had stood against storms that shredded mountains on her death world. Nothing lived long unless it was strong, and yet, as she stared at the human across the firelight, she felt something she had never felt before: doubt. The flames danced between them in the ruined tower. The storm outside had passed, leaving only the hiss of rain on the broken stones. The human sat calmly, his strange hands resting on his knees. His eyes reflected the fire like molten steel. He was too calm, too quiet. No one sat like that in her world. To survive here meant to always be ready to strike, ready to move, ready to kill. But this human looked as if the dangers around him did not matter. That made her uneasy. At last, she broke the silence. "Why are you here?" she demanded. The human glanced at her, his expression unreadable exploration. He said simply, "I came to see the galaxy." Her claws scraped against the stone. Exploration. No one explored her world. No one dared. "You are a fool," she hissed. "This world will eat you alive." He leaned closer to the fire, his face glowing in the orange light. "Maybe," he said, "but maybe it won't." Her chest tightened again. She hated how his words carried no fear, no arrogance. Just simple truth. Suddenly, a roar cut through the night. The tower walls shook. Dust rained from the broken ceiling. The girl's eyes widened. She knew that sound. It was the hunter of the cliffs, a creature that stalked the night with claws like blades and skin like stone. Even she avoided it when she could. The human turned his head slowly toward the sound. His hand reached for something at his side, a weapon, metal and black. She had seen weapons before. Guns, blades, plasma tools. But his looked different. It was simple, brutal, and built for killing. The roar came again, closer now. The ground trembled. The alien girl rose to her feet. Claws ready, she glanced at the human, expecting fear at last, but there was none. Instead, there was a faint smile. The beast struck, bursting through the shattered wall. Its body was massive. Its mouth filled with teeth like knives. Its claws scraped sparks against the stone. The alien girl leaped forward, her instincts sharp, but before she could strike, the human moved. He was faster than she expected. He rolled under the beast's claws, raised his weapon, and fire erupted from it. The sound was thunder. The light was fire. The beast screamed as metal tore into its hide. The girl froze for half a heartbeat, her eyes wide. She had never seen a creature move like that. The beast turned, furious, blood dripping from its side. It lunged at the human, jaws wide. The human didn't run. He stepped into the attack, sliding under its mouth, his hand driving the weapon upward. A blast tore through the beast's skull. The creature collapsed, stone cracking beneath its weight. The firelight flickered. The storm outside rumbled. Silence fell. The girl stared. Her breath sharp, her claws trembling. The human lowered his weapon, smoke rising from it. He looked at the beast as if it were nothing more than a problem solved. Then he sat back down at the fire, calm as before. Her heart pounded in her chest. She had fought that beast before, barely escaping with scars. To kill it so easily. It was unthinkable. You. She whispered, "How did you?" The human looked at her, his eyes steady. On my world, this would be just another night. Her mind spun. She remembered the whispers again. Humans do not break. Humans adapt. Humans fight like demons. She wanted to deny it, to tell him he was lying. But the beast's dead body lay before her, blood steaming on the cold stone. Her claws curled against her palms. She felt something she had never felt before in her life. Fear, not fear of the beast, but fear of the human. The human's voice cut through her thoughts. "You thought you were alone," he said, "but you're not." She glared at him, though her chest felt heavy. "I am Deathworlder," she spat. "No one survives what I survive." The human's mouth curved into a shadow of a smile. "Then maybe we're the same." "No," she growled, shaking her head. Not the same, never the same, but her words were weaker than she wanted them to be. The fire burned lower. Shadows stretched across the tower walls. The human leaned back against the stone, his eyes half closed. He looked like a predator at rest. Not worried, not hunted, simply waiting for the next fight. The alien girl sat across from him, her claws tapping the ground. Her pride screamed inside her, telling her she was still the strongest. Still the last Deathworlder, but her heart whispered another truth. This human was different. This human was dangerous. Her greatest fear had begun to take shape. Outside, the storm grew darker. Lightning flashed across the sky. In the silence between thunder, she whispered to herself, words she would never admit aloud. If humans are real, then maybe I am not the monster I thought I was. She looked at him again, calm, quiet, unbroken. And she knew the galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk, the test of fear. The alien girl did not sleep that night. The fire burned low and the rain hissed on the broken stones, but her eyes never closed, her thoughts never rested. The beast's body still lay near the ruins, heavy and lifeless. Its blood marked the floor like dark rivers. Every time she looked at it, she remembered how the human had moved, fast, precise, fearless. She had fought that monster before, almost died in its jaws, but this human, he had ended it as if it were nothing. She told herself it was luck, a trick of weapons. Perhaps his world had given him strange tools. Perhaps it was not him, but the gun, yet deep inside, she knew the truth. It was not the weapon that killed the beast, it was the human. Dawn broke with red lights spilling across the cliffs. The girl stood on the edge of the ruins, staring at the valley below. Storms still rolled in the distance. But the land was quiet. Too quiet. The human walked up. Beside her, silent as ever, his eyes scanned the horizon, always searching, always measuring. "What do you see?" she asked, her voice sharp, hiding her uneasy movement. He replied, "Not beasts, not storms, something else." Her claws flexed. "Raiders," she whispered. He nodded. Yes, she had seen raiders before, scavenger bands who came to steal what they could. Most of them never dared land here. but sometimes a few were desperate enough to try, and those who came usually died. But this group was different. They moved with purpose. They had ships, weapons, armor, more dangerous than any she had seen before. The human did not flinch. "How many?" "Too many," she said. "Even for me." His eyes narrowed. "Calm but sharp. Then it will be interesting by midday." The raiders reached the cliffs. Their ships thundered down, dust rising in clouds. Armored figures poured out, weapons glowing with stolen power. The alien girl crouched low, watching them from the rocks. Her heart beat fast. She was ready to fight. But deep inside, she felt something else: fear. Not of the raiders, but of what the human might do. She turned to him. "Stay behind me," she ordered. "I will deal with them." But he only smiled faintly. "We'll see." The raiders spread out, shouting, laughing. Their leader raised a weapon high. "Find them. Kill anything that moves." The alien girl leaped first, claws flashing. She struck the nearest raider. Tearing through armor, the fight began in a storm of fire and screams. Blasts of plasma lit the cliffs. Stones cracked under explosions. She moved like a shadow, her claws slicing, her body darting between rocks, but there were too many. Shots grazed her. Heat burned her skin. She was fast, but not fast enough to stop them all. She turned to warn the human and froze. The human was not hiding. He was in the center of the battle. She watched in shock as he moved through the raiders like a beast unleashed. His weapon barked fire, each shot precise, clean. A raider fell with every pull of the trigger, but when the gun clicked empty, he did not stop. He charged. Slamming into one raider, breaking armor with his bare hands, he grabbed another, twisting their weapon away. Snapping bone like wood, his eyes burned. With fury, his face calm, but filled with something primal. The girl's claws trembled as she watched. This was not a soldier, not a fighter. This was something else, something raw. The raiders screamed, but the human did not. He fought in silence, his breath steady. His movements sharp. He was not surviving. He was dominating. The girl tore through another raider, but her eyes never left him. She had always believed she was the predator, the apex of her world. But watching him, she felt like prey. A raider tried to flee. The human caught him, pulled him down, and ended him with terrifying efficiency. No hesitation, no mercy. The girl's chest grew heavy. Her breath came sharp. This was not skill alone. This was instinct. The whispers returned again. Humans do not break. Humans adapt. Humans fight like demons. And she realized the truth. It was not rumor. It was not myth. It was real. The battle ended in silence. Bodies lay across the cliffs, smoke rising into the air. The human stood in the center, blood on his hands, his weapon hanging loose at his side. His chest rose and fell slowly, but his eyes were steady, alive. The girl stepped forward, claws dripping with blood. Her voice shook, even though she tried to hide it. "What are you?" The human looked at her, his expression calm. "Human," he said simply. Her claws dug into her palms. That word. "It is not enough." He tilted his head. "It's all you need." That night, the ruins glowed with firelight again. The girl sat across from him, silent. Her mind was chaos. She had seen fear before, but always in others, never in herself. But tonight, she carried it like a shadow. Her greatest fear was alive, sitting across from her, breathing calmly as if nothing had happened. She wanted to ask more, but the words died in her throat. Instead, she whispered, so softly the storm almost stole it away. "If humans are real, then the galaxy is not ready." The human's eyes met hers, glowing in the dark. "Maybe," he said, "or maybe it never will be." The alien girl closed her eyes, her chest heavy, her claws trembled, her pride cracked. for the first time in her life. She knew she was not the strongest, not the only Deathworlder. And that knowledge cut deeper than any wound. Her greatest fear had come true. Humanity was here. And they were more dangerous than she ever imagined. Asterisk revelation of humanity. Ruins were silent after the battle. The storm had passed, the fires had died. Only smoke and the smell of blood filled the air. The alien girl sat on the broken stones. Her claws resting on her knees. Her body ached from the fight, but her mind ached even more. She had faced many battles in her life, but none had left her so shaken, not because of the raiders, but because of him. The human, he sat across from her, calm as ever. His weapon lay beside him, his hands folded, his breathing was steady. His eyes glowed faintly in the dying firelight. The girl stared at him for a long time, her chest tight. She needed answers. She needed to know what he was, where he came from, why he fought like no creature she had ever seen. At last, her voice broke the silence. "Tell me," she said, "tell me about your world." The human's eyes lifted slowly to hers. For a moment, he said nothing, as if deciding how much truth to give. Then he spoke. His voice was low, calm, but each word carried weight. "Earth," he said. "That is my world." The name rolled from his mouth like stone falling into water. Heavy and deep, the girl tilted her head. "Earth," she repeated. The word felt strange on her tongue. "What is it?" The human's eyes narrowed, his voice steady. "A place of storms, a place of fire. A place where life itself is war." Her claws tapped against the stone. "Explain," she demanded. The human leaned back against the wall, his gaze drifting upward as if he could see his world in the stars above. "On Earth," he said, "the air can choke you. It carries sickness, poison, invisible killers too small to see. They enter your blood, your lungs, and they try to end you. Every breath is a gamble. Every day is a fight against death." The girl frowned. Her world was dangerous, yes, but the air itself had never turned against her. The human continued. "The ground is no kinder. It shakes with earthquakes. It burns with fire from below. It splits open without warning, swallowing cities whole." She shivered. "Though the fire was warm, and the skies," he said, "they scream with storms, hurricanes with winds that tear mountains apart, tornadoes that crush steel like paper, lightning that can strike without warning, floods that drown entire lands in a single day." His voice was steady, but his words painted pictures in her mind, terrifying, brutal pictures. "Still," he went on, "in the jungles, there are beasts with fangs soaked in venom. Small creatures, no larger than a hand, whose bite can kill faster than a blade. In the oceans, monsters swim in the dark. Bigger than ships, faster than lightning, waiting below the waves. In the deserts, the sun burns so hot it kills without mercy. In the ice, the cold freezes blood in minutes." The alien girl's claws dug into the stone until it cracked. Her breath grew heavy. His world sounded like a nightmare. And through it all, the human said, his eyes turning back to hers, "Life never stops fighting. Plants, animals, even the smallest insect, everything on Earth fights to live. Everything has teeth, claws, poison, or strength. It is a world that forces you to adapt, or it kills you." Her body went cold. She had thought her own world was the harshest. She had thought no one else could understand her struggle. But his words made her world sound like a shadow, a reflection, compared to the madness he described. "Impossible," she whispered, shaking her head. "No world could be like that." The human gave a faint smile, but there was no joy in it. "And yet it is," he said. "I was born there. I survived there. My people have lived there for thousands of years." Her red eyes widened. "Thousands?" She echoed. "Yes," he said. "And every day, we grew stronger. Every generation, We adapted. We learned. We endured. We did not run from our world. We tamed it. The alien girl felt her chest tighten. Her claws trembled against her knees. You should not exist, she whispered. No one should live on such a world. But we do, the human said calmly. We are the children of Earth, and Earth made us Deathworlders. The word struck her like a blade. Deathworlders, for her whole life. She had believed she was the only one, the last survivor of the harshest planet, the only being forged in endless struggle. But now, here was proof of another, and not just another something greater. Because while her people had been hunted too, extinction, his people had thrived. They had multiplied, spread, grown. Earth had not killed them. It had sharpened them. Her voice broke. How many of you? She asked. How many humans? The human's eyes did not blink. Billions, he said. Her breath caught. Her claws slipped against the stone. Billions, she repeated. The word echoed in her skull like thunder. Billions of humans, all born of this nightmare world. All carrying the same fire in their eyes, all with the same instincts she had just seen in battle. The galaxy was doomed. Her heart raced, her pride crumbled. She stared at the human with wide, trembling eyes. You are monsters, she whispered. He shook his head slowly. No, he said. We are survivors. Her claws dug into her arms. Survivors who will destroy everything. Maybe, he said, his voice quiet but sharp. Or maybe survivors who will protect everything. It depends on what the galaxy chooses to be. Silence fell between them. The fire crackled. The night grew cold. The girl could not speak. Her mind was broken, torn between fear and awe. Her greatest fear had always been that she was not alone, that somewhere in the stars another Deathworlder lived, stronger than her, more dangerous than her. Now she knew. That fear was true, but it was worse than she imagined. Because she had not found just one, she had found billions, billions of humans, children of Earth. Deathworlders beyond Deathworlders. The girl looked at him, her voice shaking. If your people are real, then the galaxy is not safe. The human's eyes met hers, glowing with fire. Safe. He said softly, the galaxy has never been safe. It's time it learns. Asterisk, the turning point. The alien girl had fought storms, beasts, and raiders. But nothing had shaken her like the words of the human. Billions, he had said. Billions of humans. All shaped by Earth, all carrying the same strength she had seen in his eyes. The thought haunted her. It filled her with dread, yet part of her refused to believe it. One human was terrifying enough, but billions? No galaxy could survive that, and then the galaxy tested her, by morning. The raiders returned not scattered bands this time, but an army. Ships filled the sky, black shapes cutting across the clouds. Their engines shook the cliffs, their weapons burned red through the storm. The alien girl crouched on the rocks, her eyes wide, her claws flexing. She had fought many enemies before, but this was too many. Dozens of ships, hundreds of raiders, more than she could count. Her breath came sharp. Her pride whispered to fight, but her instincts whispered another word. Run. Beside her, the human stood, silent as always. His eyes studied the enemy with no sign of fear. You see them? She asked, her voice tense. Yes, he said simply. There are too many, she hissed. Even I cannot, he interrupted, calm and steady. We can. Her head snapped toward him. You are mad, she growled. We will die. His lips curved into the faintest shadow of a smile. Not today. Something in his voice froze her. It was not arrogance, not foolishness. It was certainty. Her claws trembled. She had always been the strongest, the one others feared. But now, standing next to him, she felt like a child. Still, she could not back down. She bared her teeth. Then we fight. Asterisk, the raider struck. Blasts of plasma lit the cliffs. Rocks shattered. Fire spread. Armored figures poured from the ships, their weapons glowing, their voices screaming. The alien girl leaped forward first, her claws slicing through the nearest raider. Blood sprayed across the stone. She moved fast, dodging fire, tearing through armor. But there were too many. Shots grazed her, burns scorched her skin. She roared, pushing harder. And then the human moved. She had seen him fight before, but never like this. He became a storm. His weapon barked thunder, each shot clean and deadly. Raiders fell in waves before him, but when his gun clicked empty, he did not falter. He charged into the swarm. Hands and fists moving with brutal precision. A strike to the throat, a twist of bone, a crush of armor. Each motion was simple, efficient, unstoppable. The raiders screamed. But he did not. His silence was more terrifying than any roar. The alien girl tore through her enemies, but her eyes never left him. He fought like no creature she had ever seen.